Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron, I hope you're having an incredible day in Jesus. Thank you so much for being with us. Today we're going to look at depictions of dinosaurs in Cambodia, Europe, maybe the Republic of Georgia. Let's get started. It comes from this wonderful article on genesispark.com, which we've been doing in many of our morning almost said podcast here recently, but podcast videos, whatever you'd like to call them. Share with your friends. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. I'm not good at social media, so I just count on all of you to spread this. So God bless. So deep in the jungles of Cambodia are ornate temples and palaces from the Khmer civilization. You remember the Khmer Rouge with Pol Pot and all of this. One such temple, Tabram, abounds with stone statues and relief art. Now, I didn't want to say there's a lot of people that talk about Western civilization and the architecture, but if you've ever been to the East and you look at the Great Wall of China and some of the pagodas and various architecture of the East, it's probably equally awe-inspiring. It's pretty amazing. So, let's just keep going. Humans have it in us. Almost every square inch of the gray sandstone of this temple, Tabram, is covered with detailed carvings. These depict familiar animals like monkeys, deer, horses, elephants, water buffalo, parrots, and lizards. However, one column contains an intricate carving of a stegosaur-like creature. Now, this is a pattern we've been seeing as we've gone around the world in this series of videos we've been doing, that many of the reliefs and pictures and various forms, pictographs, that they're going to show everything accurately, people and common animals for the area, and then it's going to have dinosaurs. Many times, like the now Palestrina mosaic and stuff, in the same depiction, it's like, well, maybe they were looking at dinosaurs. And this is one I use because it's just so, it's like the dinosaurs on the Nebuchadnezzar wall and all of this. It's just incredible. So it says, note the upright posture, huge tail, and plates lower left. But how could artisans decorating an 800-year-old Buddhist temple know what a dinosaur looked like when Western science only began assembling dinosaur skeletons in the past 2 centuries? It seems that the Khmer artist had seen or received reports of a stegosaur, obviously. However, skeptics point to the lack of tail spikes on the oversized head to question the stegosaur interpretation. But after traveling to Tabram in 2017, taking high-res photos and measurements, and discovering a second stegosaur engraving, Genesis Park staff prepared a peer-reviewed journal article on the stegosaur engravings at Tabram, responding to the critics. So there's actually now 2 stegosaur, and it certainly looks to me like there is, in fact, a spike on the tail, at least the one that is enlarged here. So now let's go to some European depictions. So medieval European art is replete with dragon iconography, and so is Chinese. And to me, that reports, as mythology often does, to a common ancestor. Much of it used to typify satanic power, as seen in Revelation 12:3. A wonderfully preserved fresco on the left, depicting the Archangel Michael overcoming the dragon, is displayed at San Zan de Gola, a beautiful little 13th century church in Venice, Italy, like 1200s. The dragon's proportions, especially its diminutive front legs, bring to mind the small theropod dinosaurs like Compsognathus. Now, that goes back. Isn't there a report? There's a report of a knight fighting a small dinosaur in Italy in the 1400s. And so I think Bill Cooper may report that. But anyhow, William Cooper with Creation Science and Movement UK. The country of Georgia sits at the edge of Eastern Europe and Western Asia. High in the hills atop Mount Gergeti is the Holy Trinity Church, also known as Saminda Samiba, which was originally constructed in the 1300s. The bell tower window, shown at right, contains some unusual carvings that look quite a bit like 2 dinosaurs, perhaps engaged in a headbutting competition, and it looks exactly like that, as a matter of fact. or combat. Inside the church is an ancient icon of St. George slaying a snake-like dragon. St. George has been revered in the Republic of Georgia since the 4th century, the 300s. The weathering and patina of these dragons certainly seems to match the rest of the construction, suggesting it is an original carving. So it really is from the 1200s. Choir stall railings and misericords, shelf-like seats for reclining while standing in medieval European churches, are often adorned with ornate carvings. A common theme is the depictions of a dragon symbolizing Satan fighting a lion, obviously symbolizing Jesus. Lower left is one such depicting, showing a dragon that looks very much like a sauropod dinosaur, taken from St. Remigius Church. Other dragon scenes are also depicted. Notice the dragon eating a man is shown on a misrecord from St. David's Cathedral in Wales. The Carlisle Cathedral misrecord showing twin dragons were carved in the 15th century. Also, know there's about 200 place names in the UK. I did a video on that some time back that seem to indicate dinosaurs. Now, this to me, that those particular ones, not the stegs in Cambodia, I'm like, okay, they describe the dragon in Revelation chapter 12. So maybe they're just doing that or combining it with Leviathan or something like that. So they're not as convincing to me as so many of these others. But we are going to look at St. George slaying a ferocious dragon, that motif throughout history, but we're going to make that a separate video. So God bless you. Thanks for being here. Join us daily. Share with your friends. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.